Now with more, former prosecutor and NBC legal analyst Susan Filan. Susan, good morning.
Good morning, Amy.
Just how important was Sarah Palin's testimony to the case, and how much damage did it do to the defense?
It was critical testimony. I mean, this case really couldn't have been made without her. She is essentially the victim in this case, and I think it was very damaging to the defense. She's enormously popular there.
Yeah, and we just heard Carrie report that Palin and her daughter Bristol talked about the serious consequences of their inability to communicate. His lawyer, the hacker's lawyer, told a very different side of the story, saying, you know, this was a silly prank. In this he said, she said trial, which side's version do you think will be more powerful?
Palin's is definitely more powerful, because even if it was a silly prank, if that was his quote-unquote intent, the consequences, as the jury now heard, were quite dire to the victim, and that's what's really going to carry the day in this case.
And the hacker, the accused hacker, David Cornell, faces major felony charges, we should point out. If he is convicted, he could go to prison for up to 50 years. Now, his defense attorney says, you know what, these charges are too harsh, and they've only been brought against him because Sarah Palin was his victim. Any truth to that?
Well, I think that because of the office that she was running for, I think because of the position that she held, given that she was a public official, that she had a high office at the time, they did go after this kid pretty hard. But I think what the message to the world is that you can't screw around with somebody's privacy. And if you do, they are going to throw the book at you. And so this was set up as an example. It wasn't just per se Sarah Palin because she's so popular or she's so pretty or because she's on, you know, TV. It's because of the office that she held. If you go after the president, you go after the vice president, and you go after their privacy, you know, you can bring this country down. That's why they did it.
That said, what are the typical consequences for someone who hacks into another person's email, who isn't famous or who doesn't have some sort of public platform?
Well, you know how frustrated we've all been. You know, you lose your identity, there's identity theft, and there's not much you can do. So I think we've all seen that our privacy's been violated and not too much happens. I think that's why this case is so important. The government's trying to send a message. You can't mess around with the internet and get away with it. So they're trying to send a clear message. They're trying to show there are strong consequences. Typically there aren't, but in this case there are going to be if he's convicted.
All right, Susan Filan, thanks so much. We appreciate it.